Hey, it's me once again, and welcome to Let's Check. Due to unfortunate circumstances, I'll have to do this part as well. And for our first playlist to check out, we are looking at Lumi's Apex routine, one of the most popular Apex playlists around. If you guys don't know, Lumi is an Apex player known for dropping insanely high damage pub games, and is currently on Soar. He cites Kofax as one of the key factors to his improvement over the last year, and working with Buckshot, who you may know as one of the best trackers in the world, created this playlist, so let's get right into it. The playlist is separated into 5 sections, the first one being reactivity. This section is quite good. We have some good scenes here promoting smoothness between strafes and puts emphasis on readjustments like Ground Plus and Sparky Refeed Bot 5 and 6, Air Peer and Control Sphere. I consider Air Peer to be a pretty massive difficulty spike and is easily the hardest scene in the playlist. It is a little hard for newcomers, especially with the last UFO bot, but I think it's okay as long as you keep in mind not to tense too hard and to focus on smoothness. Other than that, we have 2 humanoid scenes, close mid 80 LFS dodge and close tapping strafes. Both I'm not a fan of. 80 LFS dodge just promotes anti-mirroring and close tapping strafes just feels like a worse version of smoothbot. There are better ways to practice strafe aiming, especially in the scope of Apex where you can just play R5. Next section we have smoothness, and I'm really trying not to be harsh, but these suck. Every scenario in this section ranges from being too easy, like VT Smoothbot Novice, to being 100% readable, like centering 180 no strafes and revolving tracking. In my opinion, one of the most important skills when it comes to aiming in Apex and tracking in general would be under-tracking, which none of these help develop, since under-tracking in-game would require the player to read and to understand the strafes. But with these, you can turn your brain off. Moreover, these scenes being 100% readable means that a lot of the improvements you see playing these repeatedly would be down to learning the scenario. Also, accuracy scoring on a tracking scene? Are you serious? While I understand the goal here is perhaps to let the player focus on the mechanical movements of being smooth by removing the reading pod, I think this is the completely wrong approach in gaining mouse control. Overall, Smooth See Easy is the only scene here that's not too bad, and I wish there were scenes like Air Energetic 4-4 Tig, or the easy version of it to drill the player on under-aiming. Next is Dynamic, featuring 3 scenarios, Beam Click, Bounce 180 Sparky, and VT Puzzle Rasp Novice. Nothing too bad here, but I do think Beam Click being only horizontal strafes a little bit questionable, and that puzzle kinda trains the same thing. Then we got Speed, featuring 3 scenarios, 2 of them are Tower Frenzy. Before you guys' eyes roll back into your skulls, the first one, Tower Frenzy 180, I actually don't think it's too bad, since it does help with the player go fast and change their static a little bit. I also appreciate the wide angles in this scene, however, I think the targets are a little bit too big. The other 2, Tower Frenzy 180 strafing 400% track and false target switch seems to overlap each other a little bit though, with both scenes being target switching scenarios only featuring horizontal bot movements. Personally, I would have liked to see a speed target switching scene here that included more vertical movement, such as some TS. Lastly, we have Precision, 3 static scenes. The first 2 are both wide wall 3 targets, with the first one being a little bit wider. The last scene is 1 wall 4 target small for Tig, which I consider to be better than the much more popular 1 wall 6 target small, and perhaps the best 1 wall 8 target scene. Good session overall, but again, bit of an overlap with the 2 wide wall scenes. I understand that there's a difference with one being wider angles, but still. And that's the playlist. Overall, I think it's a decent playlist with some good scenes. It seems that it's targeted towards a more novice skill level, which I think is great. Everyone starts somewhere. However, some of these scenes, especially in the smoothness session, is too easy, even for new players, and the lack of under-tracking practice here is definitely a little painful. If we replace the scenes in the smoothness session, and fix some of the overlapping scenes, we could have a pretty solid playlist for Apex grinders. And as a fellow Apex grinder who happens to play a lot of Kovacs, I'll have to give this a B-.